this young lady, she's been with us before. Yes. First of all, she's from California. She lives in DC. She's an interpreter. She loves to travel. Yes, we know that. She loves to have fun. She likes being with people. She's a dolphin. I call her dolphin. She's committed that people discover who they are and create a better being in themselves. Without further ado, the great Miss Jen Olson with the Unlimited Warm Market. Come on, girl.
Mr. Thomas, or Mr. Dolphin today. Oh my gosh, I love it. You're cracking me up. I think I just burned all the calories that I need to burn for today. Laughing, I'm leaving with a six-pack for sure. Thank you so much for leading by example. Thank you so much for your passion, for your commitment. I'm using you in my presentation. I already have you written down. And of course I would use you, because who else has rings like this? Like, who else? Like, thank you so much to show us that it could be done. Thank you for the value that you bring us, that you show us how it's done. I am here in Southern California. I just left a networking meeting. They're still in there networking, and I slipped out to be on this call. I'm at a golf course, and it's beautiful outside. So I thought, well, I'm going to follow Mrs. Roxanne, or Miss Roxanne Coralejo's example, and I'm not going to slip on ice, but I'm seated here safely in the sun. It's great to be with all of you. I'm excited. I'm inspired by what you're up to. Payon, I don't know how to say your name, but you are incredible. And like so many other people that Mr. Thomas called out, and your results that you're showing in the message, I'm sure we could unmute each one of you and just get gold out of how it is that you're being unstoppable, and that there's just massive momentum. So I'm just excited to be in this group with all of you, and to be inspired to continue moving towards what we're committed to, and what we declare is already done. So my topic for today is unlimited market, and I'll be back next week. So it's going to be a two-parter. So the first part is getting our mind right, and actually taking off these goggles. I don't know, the visual yesterday, getting out of that murky water, right? And clearing it up with some positivity, so we can actually see that there's an unlimited market. And when we see that there's an unlimited market, we're going to be unstoppable, and we're going to be in action. But first we need to get our mind right, so that we actually take the action. Because it's kind of, it's not, I was going to say falling on deaf ears, but I'm like, I'm an interpreter. I work with deaf people. That doesn't feel right. So it's kind of like not making the impact that it is intended to make. If we say, hey, go out there and peak people, when you can't hear it, you can't see it, because in your mind, it's a little bit cloudy. So we're going to start with that. It's going to be very simple. And I'm going to invite you to take action, and like actually say whether you're going to do it or not. And then next week, we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about, just some practical ways that we can expand our market. So first, we're going to clear our mind. When if I were to say to you, Miss Rutherford, or if I were to say to you, Mr. Kenneth Roberts, or Mr. Juan Carlos Abrica, if I were to say, hey, go out there and peak 50 people today, what would show up for you in your mind? Would you say that's impossible? I don't know 50 people. What are you talking about? No, I don't have anyone that I can. I've already talked to everybody that I know. What's going on in your mind? I talked to someone last week, and they said they weren't interested. I don't want to talk to anyone else. I'm going to take off a month and just go to all the trainings, and then read all these books. And then next month is going to be a fresh start. Next month. You know what? Actually, after Dallas, I'm going to go ahead and peak. What would be there? Is there disbelief? Is there fear? Is there a defeated attitude? Are you dwelling on what doesn't serve you? Miss Coralejo said, focus on the negative, but that was really bad advice, right? She said that. Are you dwelling on maybe a past failure or a past attempt to dictate your actions now? What stops you from taking massive action? What stops you from doing that? Oh, we're getting chats. Let me see if I'm incorporating this into the talk. There's so much. I went back to my first home meeting and got someone on last night. She's a councilwoman and is yes, I love that. Follow up. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. So are you a person who says, I've talked to everybody at my church, I've talked to everyone in my family, I've talked to all of my neighbors, I know everyone at the grocery store that I see, there's nobody else? Is your mind limiting what you actually see is available? Like, do you see the opportunity, or is disbelief, fear, negative thoughts, dwelling on the past stopping you from seeing that there is an unlimited warm market? So first, we need to clear our mind so we can see what's right there and the opportunity. Second, you are what you think. You are what you think. Is that true? You are what you think. I think that nobody's going to be interested. I think that if I put myself out there, they're not going to respond. I've talked about this before. You're like speaking into a no. If you just met someone and you said, hey, give me $50,000. I don't know. You've never met this person before and you're asking them to give you $50,000. In my mind, I'm going to think they're not going to give it to me. They don't know me. They don't trust me. If this is someone I'm in business with, we have a relationship together, we have a business plan, we're talking about getting an investor, there's something there. I'm going to be speaking more into a yes. So you are what you think. So let's say there was a room of 300 people. There was a room of 300 people and I said, listen. These 300 people are not going to be interested in what you have to say. They're not interested in the business. They're not open to talking to you. How would you be being? How would you be thinking? How would you be acting if I told you that? Put it in the chat. If I said this room is full of 300 people and none of them will be interested, none of them, what would you say? Bye, nice to meet you. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, what would you say? All right, let's see. I'd call BS, laugh out loud. Okay, Joshua Casey, I see you. Impossible, prove you wrong. Ooh, I love your fortitude. Unmotivated, don't walk by a fortune. Swaggerty, oh, I love that, man. Prejudge, that's right. Okay, so I see that your minds, a lot of your minds are right. Follow up within 48 hours, reload. Okay. So if sometimes I have experienced myself when I've gone out to go networking with people or to go and just interact with people and make connections, in my mind, I have stalled myself from moving forward because I believed that they were going to be a no, that they weren't going to be interested, that their position in life was somehow was above what I had, or what they had to offer was above what I had to offer. My mind wasn't right, so I couldn't see the opportunity, and I was speaking into a no. So if there was a room of 300 people and someone told me no, I'd say, oh, well, I'm not going to even go and talk to them. I'm not even going to engage in conversation. I'm not going to interact with them. If I really believed that, that's how I would be. I wouldn't be interacting with them. I wouldn't even see that there's an unlimited market in front of me. But if I told you this room of 300 people, there's 300 SVP, or there's 3 SVPs in this room of 300 people. There's 3. I'm giving you a secret. I'm telling only you. Listen, there are 3 L. Thomases in this room. How would you be being? When you went up to the first person and they said no, would you sit down and quit? And the second person, would you quit? The third person, would you quit? The fourth person, the fifth. What about the 255th? And you've gotten all no's. 285th, 295th. Would you say, you know what? I have talked to 295 people. They all said no. These next 5 for sure. They're going to be a no. I'm going to sit down and no, you already know there's 3 SVPs in that room of 300 people. You would be unstoppable. You wouldn't care what anyone else had to say. Is all you're doing is sorting. That's it. That's it. So I would work as quickly as possible through the numbers to get to those 3 people. If they could just say magically, this is not how it happens, I am the SVP. I would not sit down. I don't even think I would take a bathroom break, and I take them. I would go nonstop until I got to those 3 yeses. So I say we are what we think. Our thinking impacts the way that we're being, and the way we're thinking and feeling and all those thoughts, which impacts the way that we're interacting with people and what we say. So my invitation for you is, okay, clear the mind. Secondly, what are you thinking? Clear it. It's empty. It's empty. Now you get to create whatever you want to create. I am finding my SVP this week. Period. You're not going to stop until you get that yes. And that will impact the way that you're interacting with people. And you will see opportunity. You will see a market. You will be in communication with people, with confidence, with excitement, with motivation. I am so inspired by Mr. L. Thomas. I'll talk about him a little bit later too, but he knows that what he has is a gift. He knows that this is a vehicle for people to realize their dreams. He was talking yesterday about how they're taking away holidays from people who are traditional, I don't know, work in the government, work traditional jobs. They're taking away things. He knows that what he has is a gift. Does he need to expand his team? No, he is committed to making a difference with more people. This man is unstoppable. He gets 10 no's. Okay. I don't have it that he sits down for 2 months and just thinks about all of those no's. I have it that he keeps going for 10 more. Bye-bye. Nice to meet you guys. He is unstoppable. So your thoughts influence your actions. The third thing that I want to say, so clear your mind. Number 2 is you are what you think. Number 3 is see everything as an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity to connect with people. Everything. There's not a specific way that we have to connect with people. And I have down here Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Megan Williams. So I had the privilege of being in Cleveland, I think it was. We were in Ohio together with Mr. Thomas. And he, on our lunch break, myself, Jason, Jabri, I think it was just the 4 of us. We went out to lunch and this man was on fire. I think there's some like footage of it and I'm sure you've seen him in action. But what was impressive to me was that he did not get impacted by people's responses. He was curious about people. He disarmed them by being personal and connecting with them and being, oh my gosh, he could see like the gold or the positive in people. And he would just interact with the person that was seating us down at the table, the waiter, person walking by the street, someone working at the hotel. Like the way he was being, you know that in his mind, he wasn't thinking, oh, they're not going to like this. They're going to think that I'm dumb. What I have isn't great. He is convinced. He is convinced. There's no taking that away. He was one after the other, after the other. Yes, don't get emotional off the response. Exactly. People's responses, we know this, don't dictate what we have in our hand. I have a great gift for you. You say no, okay. You just don't see the value. You're not interested. You're not curious. You're not at a place in your life. It's not the right time. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just a no. Okay, next. I recently went to a trade show in Las Vegas. I was in Vegas, Mr. Thomas. I didn't see you. Just putting that together. So we went and we networked with a whole bunch of business owners. So I went with Mrs. Megan Williams, who is my regional vice president that I work with, and a couple of other people, a couple of other IBOs. And to watch Mrs. Megan Williams, I mean, I saw a lot of similarities between her and Mr. L. Thomas in terms of she never sat down if someone said no. She was not fazed by someone saying, I'm not interested. She knows that what she has her hands on is a gift. And what she did was she was connecting with people. She was curious. She was interested. She was not fazed by people's responses, not once. Not once. We all got no's. We all got yeses. Didn't faze her. So I watched her and I observed and I say, I'm pretty comfortable like interacting with people. But what I learned from her is to be curious and to be interested in other people. And I saw similarities between her and Mr. L. Thomas. They're curious in other people. I remember him saying, hey, you ready to make your jailbreak out of this place? To one of the waiters when we were in Ohio. He's just like, hey, I got something for you. Hey, is this interesting to you? It didn't matter what the person's response was. He was just going to ask them. And Mrs. Megan Williams, the same thing. It was just, we talked to people after people, after people, after people, after people. And she didn't sit down. She was curious. I mean, they know it's a numbers game. They've been in the business long enough to know it is a numbers game. And I have it that they both knew that is a gift to share with other people. So there was someone that went with us and she was so nervous. She was so nervous. I didn't have the same experience as her as being nervous, but I don't know what's out of your comfort zone. I don't know what for you would be a stretch. So I'm going to share a little bit. I asked her to share with me her experience. She was shaking in her boots. So we talked about clearing your mind. We talked about you are what you think and seeing everything as an opportunity. So I'm going to just read a little bit. And she texted me. So she gave me compliments. I'm like, no, 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 no. That wasn't the intention of this, but it was so, so sweet. So she said, hello. I was terrified to do any peeking before this trade show. She said, you're such an incredible example to be by showing me the cold market. She said, I was terrified to talk to anybody because I felt my knowledge was not good enough to be able to talk with professionals. Do you ever diminish what you have? Do you ever diminish your skill? Do you ever diminish where you're at financially? Do you ever diminish where you're at in business? Do you stay there? Or do you give it up and are you in action anyways? She was terrified. I was so proud of her. She said, but after listening to you and following your example, I've been able to speak with people with a lot more confidence and understanding that it may not be right for everybody. Not everyone's going to be a yes, and not everyone's going to be a yes. But for those certain people that are out there looking for something different, we're able to help them. Not fazed by it, like not being impacted by the emotions of their responses. I've been able to learn and get out of my comfort zone, even though I still get sick to my stomach. That is courage. That is absolute courage. She is still in action. She knows that there's some thoughts in there like, oh, I don't have the language that these people have. I don't have the same professional experience. Put that aside. I feel sick to my stomach. It's not going to kill me. Put that to the side. So I am a lot more confident speaking with people, and I'm actually excited to go and talk to people where before I was terrified. What was that switch for her? If she wasn't in action, I tell you, she would have never had this confidence. If she just sat there in her feelings and in her disbelief and in whatever thinking that she had, she would not have been in action. She would have still been sitting there, not even talking, not even peeking people, but she was courageous to put that to the side. She said, and I also having the knowledge that there are networking avenues out there that I didn't even know existed. And I wouldn't have known had it not been for you. That was so sweet. Okay, so she was a person who was literally shaking in her boots. She was so nervous. I saw her mouth was dry when she was talking and she was glowing or sweating. And I was so proud of her that she found her group. She stopped comparing herself or trying to be like Megan Williams or trying to be like the other people that we were with and just being who she is and connecting with people naturally. That's it. Hey, I've got some gum. You want some? You might say no. They may not like gum. They may not have any teeth. Oh my gosh, what if they had a bad experience with gum before? We don't care. Do you want some gum? I'm sure you want some gum. I got a business. Are you interested? Yes, no. Okay, cool. Yes, okay. Let me share it with you. That's it. So she was in action. So how do we expand our warm market? We open our mouths. We open our mouths. We talk to people. It goes from cold, cool, you open your mouth, you make a connection. Those people that Mr. Thomas piqued when we were all together, he didn't talk to them for 6 years and then ask them if they're interested in other ways of making money. He opened his mouth, he connected, he had a genuine connection, and he asked a question. That became his warm market. They were so warm, so friendly, so warm. So we expand our warm market by opening our mouth and we talk to people. Do you have a chicken list? Are there people that since you got, I see a confession, Ms. Rutherford. Are there people that you have said, you know what? Since I got started in the business, they've been in the back of my mind. Maria Estrada, is there someone for you? Like, where you're like, oh my gosh, that person is so successful. They're a millionaire. They like just speak and present themselves like so great. Whatever it is, you have it that like, there's something that's stopping you from asking them. That chicken list takes up space in our minds, right? It's like I'm talking to this person. There's always that person. We want to clear our minds. How do we clear our minds? We take action. We get people off of our list. So who is on your chicken list? Who is someone that you're saying, I've been meaning to follow up with them? It's just next week. next year, you know what? They're going through some stuff right now. Why are you making decisions for them? These are grown people who can make whatever decisions and get back to you or not get back to you. So I invite you to take on your chicken list, to clear whatever might be in your space, to practice. I had a chicken list. I had this one guy who was an agency owner that I worked for before. And I'm like, he is so successful. Look at the cars he drives. Not that I think that the car you drive is very successful, but I know that he was making some money, honey. And I was scared. And I finally, like, I had those feelings. But Tum wasn't feeling so hot. And I emailed him and then we had a conversation. And he was a no. I got him off my list. And I'm thinking about him now. This is years ago. Now that we have impact, now that like I am a different person, I think I'm going to add him to my list and find his number again and call him. So thank you for this encouragement. I appreciate you listening to this. Like it was it cleared up space in my mind and it gave me confidence. It didn't matter his response because I opened my mouth. I didn't die. He didn't die. It was just a conversation. So there's like a boost of confidence. Like Hunt, is there someone on your chicken list that you haven't reached out to? Mr. BK Waller, excuse me. Is there someone on your list that you haven't reached out to? I invite you this week to just clear your mind, clear your space. Don't leave anyone without a peek from you, without extending this gift that we have, without saying, hey, I'm looking for those who are looking for me. Are you the one? What would stretch you this week? What would put you out of your comfort zone to expand your warm market? Would it be just initiating a conversation at the grocery store? Does it scare you to even just initiate conversation with someone you may not know? Maybe you're not even going to ask them about the business. Hey, how's your day going? Complimenting them, connecting with them. Would it be making a new Facebook friend? Would it be reaching out to Facebook friends that you have and that you just were like, no, I just they wouldn't be interested? Would it be reaching out to someone like that? Would it be reaching out to people who you do business with? Your accountants, your realtors, the person who like does the property management, your hairstylist, your massage therapist, your auto mechanic, your insurance agent. Who do you do business with? Other parents for your kids' sports, people at church, your neighbors. What will stretch you this week? We have amazing examples. Like there's so many people on this call who are in action and unstoppable. What would even stretch you? Would it be the number of people that you're peaking a day? So my invitation for you is to clear your mind, to put in who you are with what you think. To remember this lady's example who literally was sick to her stomach, but moved forward in courage. To know that it's a numbers game. We expand our warm market by opening our mouth and do one thing this week that stretches you, something that you've been putting off that like makes you feel uneasy. That's a challenge. It's going to be different for every single person. Maybe it's peaking one person a day. Maybe it's peaking one person an hour for 7 hours. I don't know what it is for you, but I invite you to take on. We have people right in front of us. Take on who is there. Take on who you haven't reached out to, who does business with you for sure. And next week, I'm going to show you different ways that I have expanded my warm market and how I interact with people that are cold and they become warm.